All rise. Support Court Judge Van der Bee is now in session. Justice case number JVB1086, Easley case.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You all may be seated. Okay, Miss Easley, you brought this case before the court. What's going on?
So I met Nicole about 9 months ago. She normally comes into town when she is here on a traveling assignment, and the lady next door rents out her home to travel nurses. And so over time, we, kind of clicked and we started hanging out. Her children would come over and play with mine, and we just, became really good friends. And so this particular time, she had another assignment somewhere else, and her current nanny wasn't available. And so I offered to keep the kids. I had just finished special agent school, and I had some downtime. So she was like, well, it'll be about 6 weeks, but I probably just need you for the 2 weeks, and my other nanny will come and get the kids. And I said, okay, cool. I told her, a price. We kind of made the arrangements. And then over time, after the first week, I didn't hear from her. She didn't.
Wait a minute. So after a week of you having her children, she didn't call you. She didn't check on them. No FaceTime.
I couldn't get her on the phone. I would call. I would send her a text. The kids would even call. I think that the 10-year-old has a phone. He even tried to call. She just wasn't available.
Guys, fasten your seatbelts. This begins with a favor that descended into mayhem. M met Nicole, a travel nurse, with ease, and consented to watch her children while she was out on a brief job. The initial 2 weeks swiftly devolved into radio silence. Nicole disappeared a week later. No payments, no texts, and no calls. Even calls from the 10-year-old were not returned. The judge recounts each missed check-in with ease, despite his suspicions. We're observing the initial indications of neglect, and it's clear that this case will reveal—
These are 10 and
7.
10 and 7. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Boy and girl.
Okay.
Yeah. So after the first week, I was like, okay, well, maybe she's just busy. I know nurses, they work 12-hour days. Cool. The second week came around, I didn't get the next payment. The next payment would have been through Venmo. She didn't send me no money. She didn't send the payment. I still couldn't get her on the phone. So at the time, my fiance had just got back in town, probably a couple days after she had left. And I kind of was telling him about what was going on. And he, was like, well, just give her some time. And, just to me, nonchalant about it in a way. And so he ended up having to go back out of town for an emergency work trip. And so I remember when he left, that next week when I couldn't get on the phone again, I happened to just call him and I couldn't get him on the phone. And I was just like, okay, something isn't right.
Mm-hmm.
My detectors went off. And
Mine
I was
are
like,
too.
okay. So, so I ended up pulling his location and I realized they were in the same state.
Oh.
I said, well, maybe that's a coincidence. He travels a lot,
He travels a lot.
He travels a lot.
She travels a lot.
She's a travel nurse. She should only be at the hospital. She shouldn't be anywhere
much
else.
more than underpaid child care. Okay, folks. We now reach the twist of betrayal. She quickly contacted her fiancé after Nicole vanished, only to discover that he had also gone black. It didn't feel quite right. She followed him around, and you know what? He and Nicole live in the same state. Suspicion becomes apparent. She hears Nicole in the background when she eventually manages to get him on FaceTime. He stumbles, lies, and says he's going to a meeting. Both the judge and we lean in. The question of who is watching the children is no longer relevant.
I should be.
Who was monitoring whom is the issue?
Turn?
This triangle suddenly
so,
came into view. However, they both indicate where I ought to be. But all right, who's to say you shouldn't wait for your turn?
Which is unusual because he
As a
would call
result,
every night.
I ended up, I seem to recall, framing him, but he didn't respond, which is odd because he used to call every night. He was going to check in. We never have a communication problem. So one day, the following day, and now we're probably 2.5 weeks in. I have him on. Have that problem, The unraveling is about to begin. Nicole is easily called out by Ms., and her justifications are
listen,
feeble.
Healed my teacup
When
this
questioned
long.
about the fiancé
So now
and the
we're going
nanny,
on
she
probably
becomes
now we're
defensive,
2.5 weeks in,
avoids
and so I
questioning,
decided to call her
and
again.
places
She ends up
the blame
calling,
on her job. Weeks went by with no help, no pickup,
was like,
and
I'm
no
sorry,
money.
you know, I've been
The judge readily
working, and it's
discloses
just
how
been
her
crazy
kind
at
deed
work,
devolved into
and,
unpaid
sorry
labor
about
while
the
listening.
kids. And so
No
I was like,
miscommunication
where
regarding
you say you was at
co-parenting is
again?
being
And
heard in
she
the
told me where she was
courtroom.
at, and I was just
It's an
like,
intentional
well,
avoidance.
what happened to the nanny that
Now,
was supposed to
Nicole
be coming?
feels the weight of
And
every
I said,
word
I
she
think I might
kept
have
quiet
heard
throughout those
Michael in the
weeks.
background.
With
Are
each
you
beat,
sure?
you can sense the court
You
getting
know,
closer
you at
to
work.
accountability.
And she kind of got an attitude and got
I
real
see.
defensive. And I said, I'm at work, and you know, you
Okay,
offered to see
yes.
the kids, and
It's not just
I'll get you your
emotional
money,
anymore.
and just
Oh,
It's
the
about
audacity!
harm.
You're keeping her kids.
Explains with
and you have
ease how
kids
Nicole's
of
house
your
was
own.
wrecked by her
kids of my
children.
own.
There are
Wow.
shattered
Yeah,
cabinets,
and they're
a
older,
broken
so I
faucet,
don't, you know,
a closed
have that
toilet, and marker scribbled walls. 3 months of mayhem without pay. However, despite everything, the kids were never sent out. She maintained her composure, sense of responsibility, and attention to their welfare. The judge stops in awe of the restraint and gentleness. This is a powerful moment. Payment isn't the only consideration. It has to do with principle. Without ever being asked, Nicole effortlessly assumed the position of a full-time mom while she was gone. When Nicole does communicate, she instantly delves deeper. Rather than offering an apology, she disparages Easley's persona by calling her nosy and domineering. She then nonchalantly acknowledges that she was with the fiancé and that their joint account was used to make the payments. The reasoning is flawed. If someone wanted control over the money, why would they use a joint account to make payments? The judge has had enough. All Nicole is doing is reaffirming that she abandoned her children and evaded accountability while attempting to portray herself as the victim. Her credibility is eroding, and her defense is weak. Nicole's justifications keep getting worse. The judge notes that just because someone doesn't advocate for your children doesn't mean you get a free pass, despite her claims that she indicated it was acceptable to keep them for a longer period of time. Nicole tries to justify why her mission was extended, but it's obvious that she didn't try to get her kids back. Her answers come across as contemptuous, as though she is dismissing parenthood as a light duty. She is reminded by the judge that carelessness covered up by justifications is still carelessness. Nicole abandoned a duty because she desired a favor. The time has come to pay the price. The shift is this. The judge outlines the true issue. Nicole did more than simply drop off her children. She left them behind, became the only reliable adult in their life with ease. The judge clarifies it now that Nicole is still on assignment. Actions are not erased by words. After 3 months of silence, Nicole claims she will pick them up shortly, but nobody takes her word for it. The focus of the courtroom changes from investigation to verdict. Stop stalling. Sufficient deflection. Nicole has to be held financially responsible now. For full-on child support, not babysitting. The harm is determined by the judge and cannot be disputed. Nicole was sending $250 every week and makes $90,000 annually. That hardly covers groceries for 2 kids. After accounting for her health insurance premiums, the court modifies the figures and establishes official child support at $1,217 per month. Nicole's expression speaks for itself. Panic and shock. However, this is balance rather than punishment. Had been working as a full-time mother with ease while Nicole used a shared bank account to pull a disappearance act. Enough has been spoken in the courtroom. While you're still receiving paychecks, support is a must. Nicole makes an effort to defend herself, but the judge doesn't believe her. Saying, "You'll get the kids next week" doesn't erase 3 months of abandonment, and it definitely doesn't eliminate support obligations. The tension in the courtroom gives way to finality. Nicole makes her own decisions. She is currently dealing with the fallout. Effortlessly, even reveals a last surprise. She learned that Nicole was expecting. The judge's face speaks for itself. In addition to abandoning her children, Nicole may be moving on to someone else. She is surrounded by the courthouse. Additionally, the verdict strikes precisely by 25. The closer is this one. The monthly support is confirmed by the judge, for 217. Nicole objects, but the gavel has already given up. Once you pick up your kids and keep them, this can be changed, she is told frankly. The math doesn't lie, though. Till then, justice lands and the courtroom clears. No attraction, no drama. Leaves with more than just back pay with ease. She leaves feeling validated. Nicole arrived with justifications. The judge gave a responsible response. The court is then dismissed without further explanation, but Nicole will bear the consequences of this decision.